Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
25-year-old John Lamb will make his big league debut tonight for the Reds. He become the 8th Reds rookie to start for Cincinnati this year and the 5th to make his debut as a starter. This young man acquired from Kansas City in the Johnny Cueto deal. 10-game winner down at AAA this year, and he'll keep the streak going. He'll make the 16th consecutive start by a rookie for Reds pitchers here tonight. It is a beautiful night here in Los Angeles, although it is very hot and very humid, something they're not used to out here. But the Reds and the Dodgers will continue this series here at Dodger Stadium. Reds a winner here last night. Tonight, Game 2, Reds and the Dodgers on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi, and a pleasant Friday evening, everyone. Along with Chris Wells, I'm Jim Kelch. Welcome to Reds Baseball. Well, tonight, the Reds will try to make it 2 in a row here, 3 in a row overall, Chris, and they'll try to do it with still another rookie. John Lamb makes his debut.
Well, why not? I mean, they've had a pretty good experience so far with all the rookies that they've sent up there, and John Lamb is a guy that has very high expectations surrounding him, given the fact that the Reds sent Johnny Cueto one way. Lamb was one of 3 left-handers the Reds got in return. He's a hard thrower. His fastball has been timed as fast as 95 miles an hour, and he's got very good control of that. He's got a changeup and a cutter, which he also calls a slider, but he's a guy that is, because he's run his record so fine in AAA, I think the expectations of Lamb slipping right into the rotation are very, very high right now. You see the starts that he had with the Omaha Royals, AAA 9-1, and he won a game with Louisville as well.
And we'll see what John Lamb can do tonight. He was talking about his debut earlier, and here's what he had to say about making Major League appearance number 1.
I'm just looking forward to, being challenged and attacking with what I have and with what's brought me here. So, really, I'm going to do the best I can to just go out there, have fun, play the game that I've always played, and that's brought me to here. And certainly, I do take it serious that Jonathan Cueto was in that trade, and my name's in it along with Finnegan and Reed. But certainly I'm taking this wholeheartedly, and I want to go out there and put my best foot forward, not only for myself but for this club.
No matter what your success at AAA is, you still have a lot of nerves going on during your Major League debut, especially when it's at home. He's only from about 30 miles down the road. So John Lamb's got a lot to think about today. I think once you get by that first inning, get a couple of outs going, it'll all be back to regular old baseball for him.
Well, he'll be opposed by another young man, Alex Wood, a left-hander acquired from the Braves by the Dodgers, 11-game winner last year. And he'll pace the Reds here tonight.
Well, he's had a pretty good run, Alex Wood has. He was acquired from the Atlanta Braves. He's not pitched all that great here with the Dodgers yet, but he's a young man that has a very unusual type of delivery. He gets batters way off stride. He keeps the ball down. He's got a knuckle curveball and a changeup that he throws to complement a fastball that runs around 90, 91 miles an hour. So a couple of young southpaws on the hill tonight at Dodger Stadium.
All right, we'll step aside. When we come back, the Reds' offense, dormant most of the year, has come alive as of late. Jim Day has more when we return.
Game set, moments away here on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day. I got a lot of messages late last night. A lot of people stayed up late to watch the game because, well, the Reds are scoring a bunch of runs. You just want to soak it all in. It hasn't been that way all season long, but of late has certainly been that way. Particularly the last 19 innings, they've scored 20 runs in those 19 innings, 27 hits as a team, hitting .338 and 5 long balls, including that big one last night from Eugenio Suarez and Billy Hamilton, en route to a rout of a victory. And as we check out our IGS bringing the energy last night here against the Dodgers, Hamilton, Phillips, and Suarez were certainly setting the table. First 4-hit game for Billy Hamilton, scored 4 runs. You saw that home run. 2 for 5 for Phillips, drove in 3 runs, scored 4. And Eugenio Suarez continues to prove that he can flat out rake at this level. 3 for 5, 4 runs driven in. That is a career high as well. Sweet 16, the 16th consecutive start by a rookie Reds pitcher. And tonight, it's another Major League debut. What's John Lamb got? We'll find out together on Fox Sports Ohio.
Former pitching coach to the young man who will make his debut tonight, John Lamb, for the Cincinnati Reds here at Dodger Stadium. As we get ready to start, let's take a look at the Reds starting lineup for tonight's game, brought to you by Meyer. It'll be Phillips, Suarez, and Votto at the top. In the middle, Frazier, Bruce, and Bird. And in the bottom 3, Pena catches, John Lamb pitches and bats 8th, and Billy Hamilton will bat 9th. Brandon Phillips to lead it off against his left-hander, 24-year-old Alex Wood. "87 degrees here at Dodger Stadium as we get started on this late Friday night. A couple of young left-handers, Wood and Lamb. Wood is actually a year younger. He's 24, Lamb 25. Lamb making his big league debut. Wood making his 89th appearance and 58th big league start. Nice play by the veteran Jimmy Rollins, taking a potential hit away from Brandon Phillips. And that's how this game gets started. Take a look at the Dodgers defensively, brought to you by your Ford dealers. Change in their lineup tonight. Scott Van Slyke is out in left field. Peterson in center. Puig is in right. Turner gets the start at third base. Came off the DL yesterday. Rollins, Hernandez, and Gonzalez, the remainder of the infield, the battery of Alex Wood, and the former Red behind the plate, Yasmani Grandal. Big offensive night for this young man last night. Eugenio Suarez. He went 3 for 5 with a career best 4 runs batted in to up his average over the 300 mark at 307. He started right at 299 last night. Talking about the big night last night for Suarez. One of his hits, this home run, 3-run blast in the 6th inning, his 7th of the year.
You know, really interesting comments that he made in the post-game interview with Jim Day. It was a great interview that Jim had with him, and he said that he was ready for that pitch, almost to the point where he said that he didn't say it, but he implied that he was looking for that particular pitch. And it's one thing looking for a pitch, but it's another thing actually getting that pitch and doing something with it, and he certainly did that. So he is the number 2 man in the lineup, works a walk.
First base runner of the game is the Red shortstop. The hitter now will be Joey Votto, and let's zero in a little bit, Chris, on Alex Wood, 6'4", 215-pounder.
Well, if you've never seen Alex Wood before from the batter's box, the first impression that you have is that he's jumping at you. He's a herky-jerky left-hander, not overpowering. He keeps the ball down. But that motion sometimes is designed, and it's worked very well for Wood, obviously, because here he goes to the major leagues a year after he was drafted by the Atlanta Braves. 2nd-round draft pick, came out of University of Georgia. Not overpowering, but he still gets a lot of strikeouts, and he's around the plate for the most part.
And like the man who started last night, Matt Latos, the former Red, he was involved in that big 3-team deal on the 30th of July that brought Latos over, that brought Wood over, brought Jim Johnson, we saw last night, over in the deal. Here's the delivery.
He stays on his back leg, and then he just kind of rocks his body in kind of an unusual manner. And a lot of times, you know, if you've got a personal pitching coach growing up, he talks you out of that. But it's worked very well for Wood. Went to high school in Charlotte, North Carolina, and somehow missed going into Chapel Hill, ended up going to Athens, Georgia instead, at University of Georgia. That University of North Carolina program does not allow too many of them to get away.
He was talking about Wood, an 11-game winner last year with a sub-3 ERA at 2.78. But both his rookie year in 13 and last year, they used him as a starter and out of the bullpen.
And you can see why. And with that delivery right there, you could neutralize most left-handed hitters. Votto, not most left-handed hitters.
Votto is a career .295 hitter against lefties, and he adds to that number here, shooting this ball to the alley in right center. Around second, headed to third is Suarez. Jim Riggleman's going to wave him around. Here comes a throw. It is going to be offline, and the Reds take an early lead here in the first on a run-producing double by Joey Votto. Give him his 55th RBI. 1-0 Cincinnati.
Baseman number 21, Todd Frazier.
You know, because the ball is hit so low, you don't appreciate how hard Votto got on that pitch. I mean, he just got it right on the screws in a very shortcut grass at Dodger Stadium. And that ball runs all the way to the wall. And because it did that, Suarez is able to come around and score from first base.
24th double by Votto. Reds get on the board here against Alex Wood in inning number 1.
Well, those walks will haunt you. I mean, he retired the first guy, walked the second batter, and one double later, you're down 1-0. Just the way the Reds like it.
Wood's walks per 9 this year, much higher than they were a year ago. Last year, 2.7 per 9. This year, way up to 4. Now it's Frazier with Votto out at second base and 1 out and a run in.
Caught last night, one of 4 Reds to have a multi-hit game. He was 2 for 5. Comes in at 262. He's hit 28. And he's had 2 balls, no strikes.
Right now, Wood is just missing on those pitches. He's aiming at the corners and just not getting enough of those corners to be called strikes. And boy, just a little bit here and there can change the entire outcome of an at-bat or an inning. So instead of being 0-2 or 1-1, he's got to deliver a good one here to Frazier.
Todd reaches for this one, and it may be playable. In fact, will be playable for Adrian Gonzalez. And that's the second out here in the first.
Now, that is a sign of an experienced pitcher, even though he's only 24 years old. He gets down 2-0 to Frazier, good fastball hitter, and pulls the string on him and makes Frazier hit his pitcher's pitch in a hitter's count.
So 2 out now for Jay Bruce. Bruce last night 1 for 5. Comes into the game at 245 overall. He's hit 18 home runs, driven in 64. Reds get a win here tonight, and they would be 4-4 through the first 8 games of this 10-game road trip.
Well, that's pretty good considering that they lost 4 of the first 6.
Lost 2 out of 3 in Arizona. Lost 2 out of 3 in San Diego. 1 here last night. Leading very early in this one. 1-0 here in the top of the first tonight. This will be fielded by Hernandez. Bruce is retired, but the Reds get on the board first. A ringing RBI double by Joey Votto. 1-0 Reds as John Lamb takes to the mound for his major league debut. And amongst all the other things that we've talked about with this young man, Chris, I think you mentioned it last night. He is a local guy, probably with a lot of family and friends out here at the ballpark tonight.
Well, whether it's Las Palmas or Laguna Hills, it's still only about 30 miles away. It's really directly between Los Angeles and Anaheim. It's a young man that obviously has a lot of connections here at Dodger Stadium. Those are the numbers that he put up at AAA, and a very impressive 10-2 record with a 2.6 earned run average. The majority of these numbers were done as a Kansas City Royal minor leaguer. So here it is.
His first big league pitch misses low. We are underway here in the bottom of the first. John Lamb against Jimmy Rollins, a switch hitter, batting from the right side. Then Kike Hernandez. Then Justin Turner. What about the repertoire of this young man?
Well, he's got a nice fastball. It has been timed as high as 95 miles an hour. I think he'll pitch more around the 91, 92 level. He throws a cutter, which is also a slider, and a changeup. And he has some connections to the Cincinnati area. He played for the amateur powerhouse Midland Redskins during his amateur time. Always nice to get a heads-up text from their head coach, Brian Hyland.
At 3-1, that's a fair ball past third base and kicking off the side wall for the Reds left fielder. Bird will get that ball back in, and that's a leadoff double for Jimmy Rollins. Take a look at the rest of the Dodgers starting lineup. Underneath Jimmy Rollins, number 2 hitter is Keke Hernandez. He's up there now. Then Justin Turner. The cleanup man is Adrian Gonzalez, Scott Van Slyke, and Yasiel Puig. And the bottom 3, Yasmani Grandal, Jock Peterson, and the pitcher Alex Wood. So here's Hernandez with a tying run out at second base to get the bottom of the first started. Hernandez showing bunt there, pulled back and took a strike. Kike hitting .292 with 5 home runs, driven in 15. Big night for him last night, 3 for 4. Been hitting the ball very well as of late, over 400 in the last 2 weeks. John Lamb this year between AAA Omaha and then AAA Louisville when he was traded, 111 1/3 innings, 36 walks, 117 strikeouts. Just from a number standpoint, if you look at him through his career, he appears as if he's averaged almost a strikeout an inning.
And that strikeout an inning stat has really been put up there without much of a breaking ball to speak of. I mean, he's got a nice changeup. That's probably his best secondary pitch. He's got a hard slider / cutter also for a breaking pitch, but you got to figure he's just going to get better the more he gets feel of that pitch.
Gets the ground ball here, but cheating up the middle was Suarez. He couldn't get back to his right to get to the ball. Rounding first too far is Hernandez. He's now in a rundown, and nobody's over there at first base, and Hernandez gets back in time. Lamb was behind home plate, covering there. First base was left unoccupied. What looked like it might be an out via the rundown doesn't become that.
Well, normally a rundown between first and second base has the pitcher involved in it, but you can see why Lamb would be coming here to home because he thought a play would be there. Now Votto's running. Votto has to know that there's nobody behind him, so there's no reason for him to give up the ball that early. In fact, he gives it up so early he never really closes the gap anyway. So unfortunate set of circumstances there. The Reds don't get an out when presented with an easy one, but 2 base hits, 2 batters, runners on the corners.
Here now is Justin Turner making his first start. He missed just over 2 weeks with that foot infection Chris was talking about last night. Got into pro ball any number of years ago, drafted by the Reds. And a very good player out here for the Dodgers the last year and a half. Starts this game at .323. His 13 home runs. That's a career best for him. Did not start, but did get into the game last night. Went 1 for 3. Came in as part of a double switch. John Lamb yet to get an out here in the bottom of the first. Now Turner will step out.
Well, Turner has become a real fan favorite here in Los Angeles after coming over from the Mets. Made the ball club as a non-roster player at the beginning of last season.
Lofts this ball to left field. Bird will make the play. Rollins will tag. There's the catch. Throw into second to hold the runner. Rollins touches the dish, and the game is tied 1-1. On Justin Turner's sacrifice fly, giving him his 45th run batted in.
First baseman number 23, Adrian Gonzalez.
Take a look at the Reds defensively, brought to you by your Ford dealers behind John Lamb tonight. In Bird, Hamilton, and Bruce across the outfield. Frazier, Suarez left side, Phillips, Votto right side. Lamb and Pena form the battery for the Reds. Here's Adrian Gonzalez. Lefty-lefty matchup. It really has never affected Gonzalez. This year he's hitting .295 against left-handers versus .292 against right-handers. Gonzalez, a hit last night, a single, also drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. And Lamb would love the ground ball double play here. Gonzalez apt to hit into it. He's hit into 15 of them this season. Waits on that pitch, fouls it away, 2-2. With the runner going, a tip foul. Gonzalez stays alive, and back to first base will go Hernandez. On deck for the Dodgers is Scott Van Slyke. Last night out there in left field to get the game going, it was Andre Ethier. Part of a double switch later in the game, it was Crawford. Now tonight it's Scott Van Slyke. 3-2. Lamb part of that Johnny Cueto trade. The three lefties that came Cincinnati's way: Brandon Finnegan, Cody Reed, and Lamb. Lamb the first one to get to the big leagues with the Reds. Finnegan, of course, appeared in the big leagues last year with Kansas City. A strikeout, a throw down, and a tag, and an out, and a double play. A strikeout, throw out, double play puts an end to the bottom of the first inning. Dodgers will take a look at it. Dad likes it. Family enjoying the action here with son John on the mound.
The Dodgers retire uniform number 20 belongs
Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Santa Monica Pier here in the Los Angeles area. Now back inside here at Dodger Stadium, we get going in inning number 2. Marlon Byrd will lead things off. Byrd hit us in the game last night, 0 for 4. A 1 for his last 13 as he enters tonight's game. Byrd with those dozen at bats lifetime against Wood, far and away more than anyone else. In fact, no one else on the Reds team has more than one. Votto, Phillips, Frazier, Bruce all came in with 1 AB. Byrd with Philadelphia last year, and Wood with Atlanta. Those two teams faced each other within the division, so that's why all the at bats for Byrd against this left-hander. And he gets the best of him here, and a ground out to start the second.
Pitcher number 29. Brian Pena.
Well, his changeup is going to be his best weapon against right-handed hitters. He has established that early on. That's what he got Frazier out on. That's just what he got Marlon Byrd fishing for as well. Tries to establish a fastball down and then take about 8 or 9 miles an hour off and get him rolling over the top of it.
Here's the switch hitting Brian Pena.
There's a lefty-righty split on Wood, and obviously the righty's doing a little bit better, especially in the home run department.
Interesting because this year the righty's 302. Last year he was way down in the 230 range.
Sometimes that small sample size can really fool you on those splits. There's a changeup again.
Look at Wood's splits. What about the Pena split? This year against right-handers 219, against left-handers with almost 3 times the number of at-bats. He's hitting 300. John Lamb, an inning worth of work under his belt on the mound, waits on deck now. And that is ball 4, and so Pena is aboard with 1 out here in the second.
Pitcher number 47, John Lamb.
Now the batter will be John Lamb. This becomes for Lamb his first professional plate appearance, playing in the Royals organization, an American League team. Their minor league affiliates never bat. And in the 3 starts he made for Louisville, they played American League affiliates, so they didn't bat in that game. So he walks to the plate for the first time as a professional.
Such a newbie, he doesn't even have a pair of batting gloves. You think one of his partners on the ball club down there would say, hey, we'll get you some gloves.
I'm going to hurt those hands.
Maybe he just wants to go up there like a throwback.
Look at Turner. He's way in halfway down the line at third, anticipating Lamb trying to lay down the bunt.
Well, you got to keep in mind that Brian Pena's at first base, so they're going to try to keep him close enough that if Lamb does not have a good bump, they'll go after that lead runner at second because Pena doesn't run that well.
And Gonzalez comes sprinting in there from first. Swinging that time, bat slipped right out of the hand, it looked like. Now he's in the hole, 2 strikes.
Well, he was probably told, and what mostly happens is that, you know, they tell you before you come up, if you see the defense coming in that hard, don't bunt into a trap because you may bunt right into a double play. go ahead and let it rip.
Pena with a 1-out walk. Reds trying to advance him into scoring position with Billy Hamilton on deck. And Lamb is a strikeout victim here. The first of the game for Alex Wood. For 2 out for Billy Hamilton.
Center fielder number 6, Billy Hamilton.
Career night this young man had last night. Billy Hamilton went 4 for 4. Career high in hits, 3 singles, and he capped it all off with that 8th inning home run. Ups his average 8 points now at 230. Home run last night is 4th. And his first home run since the middle of May, the 15th of May, against the Giants. Line towards center and caught out there by Peterson. Hit hard by Billy Hamilton. But the inning comes to an end.
My mother's father was John Ramsey, the announcer here, and I have a couple Dodgers World Series rings that were passed down. So there's a little more.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's a little more to this that I'm personally, I think our family's really excited about, that we get to embrace, you know, a debut moment here. So it's definitely exciting.
John Lamb talking about his grandfather John Ramsey, who was the public address announcer for 26 years here at Dodger Stadium. In fact, Vin Scully let the folks know before the game on his welcoming segment on the big video board here that that fact, let them know about that, and they gave this young man a pretty good round of applause for that. His grandfather died in 1990, just about the same time when same year that John was born. That's going to go foul down the left field line. Scott Van Slyke leading off here in the bottom of the second. Pinch hit in the game last night in the 7th inning, had a base hit. Hits this ball hard to third. Nice backhand pick by Frazier. Straightens up and throws a bullet across. Devato. Van Slyke retired.
Right fielder, number 66, Yasiel Puig.
Well, that'll pick you up a little bit if you're John Lamb. You get a little fancy defensive work done by some of your infielders, and that's a nice play by Frazier. That's not an easy backhand. That ball looked like it came up on him a little bit, and he had to get up there to get it.
Well, both these teams made errors in the game last night. In fact, the Reds had one, the Dodgers had two, but these are two of the top defending teams in the National League. Dodgers #1, Reds #5. In the air toward right, and Bruce lets it fall. He may have had a problem with that ball in the light. Tough to tell, but off the bat, that looked like a catchable ball that falls in front of Jay for a base hit.
Yeah, he's kind of signaling out there saying, I didn't see it come off the bat. Looks like it has a little bit of air under it, and you know, unless you see that ball perfectly off the bat and commit yourself to charging right away, you know, you're probably going to play it on a short hop anyway. You risk the ball getting by you a little bit, and Puig with his speed may end up on second.
We had an infield single last night. He gets aboard here with hit #3 for the Dodgers. Now it's Yasmani Grandal, switch hitting catcher, former first-round pick by the Reds. Didn't play in the game last night. The report was he had a sore left shoulder. All-star this year. Grandal, of course, part of that big trade between the Reds and the Padres that brought Cincinnati last night's Dodgers starter Matt Latos, and there's inevitably going to be that debate as to whether the Reds should have kept Grandal. They ended up keeping Mesoraco. Mesoraco an all-star last year, hurt this year. Grandal an all-star this year.
Well, it's unfair to make that argument now, whether you're on either side of that, because now you know what has happened in the meantime. Grandal is not even with the same team that he was traded to in that Matt Latos deal. Neither, of course, is Brad Boxberger, who came back to Cincinnati as an all-star from the Tampa Bay Rays. So it's easy in retrospect to be on the winning side of a trade, but when you're making the trade at the time, you know, teams do it for different reasons. Reds wanted one more pitcher to be able to get a playoff-ready team deep into the playoffs. Latos helped this ball club get to the playoffs. Unfortunately, they did not win a playoff series.
Lamb deals now with Jock Peterson. He's batting 8th tonight. Peterson in last night's game hit 7th. His primary spot in the Dodger lineup this year has been in the leadoff role. That's one ahead of the pitcher Alex Wood tonight. Homered here last night the opposite way.
Pretty good looking curveball the Lamb has broken out. I did not hear much of a scouting report on his slow curveball, but that pitch is a very nice break, good arm action right there, great follow through on it, and the bottom drops out. That pitch will work against righties and lefties.
Lamb trying to hang a 0 here in the bottom of the second. Got it right where he wanted it. Did Lamb over the outer part of the plate. Peterson frozen. Couple of strikeouts in the inning, and 3 thus far in the game for the Reds rookie.
League debut, and it is my pleasure to be with his parents right now. We've got Father James to my right and Mother Colleen to the left. And let's start with you, Mom. I know that the emotions, this has been a tough couple of innings for you.
It has been, but he's doing great, and I'm so proud of him. I love and believe in him.
What are the emotions going through your head right now making this Major League debut?
It's his dream. He's always wanted it. I knew he was going to go get it. I knew he could do it, and I couldn't be prouder.
All right, I came down just to test the mic in the first inning, and I looked at you, James, and you said, not now, not now. Doing better now, right?
Yeah, much better. I didn't mean to react like that.
No, it wasn't a bad. It was perfect because there was no way I was going to interrupt his first inning. I was just making sure the mic works.
Yeah, no, I figured that out after you left quietly. But yeah, I do appreciate, this opportunity the Cincinnati Reds have given my son. This is truly his dream, and it's just a special day.
Well, it's ironic the way things works out. You guys are from here, nearby here. He's got a history with the Dodgers with his grandfather, and making his Major League debut here. How ironic.
Very ironic. You couldn't have scripted this any better. I mean, it's just it's a special situation no matter how you slice it, that he's getting a chance for us to just drive 30-some miles and get a chance with some of his family and friends around here. And everybody, he's got a lot of support here scattered all over the stadium. And it's just wonderful. I mean, this is a fantastic opportunity for him to be home in this area, yet playing for a great organization like the Cincinnati Reds.
They are checking out an injury situation with the pitcher. Obviously, we'll see if he stays in the game. But while we have time, Mom, John Ramsey, your father, right?
Not my father.
Not your. I'm sorry, my bad.
That's John's mom. His mom.
I understand. I got it. How special is it? I ask people this all the time. You've seen so much of him as a youngster, and now all of a sudden he's a grown man out there on the mound.
I'll tell you, I have watched that kid come up from a toddler all the way up. He has really, really become a wonderful young man. I just can't get over his poise and he's just so into the kids. He'll autograph for any kid. I just love the way he treats the fans.
Well, one thing that you said to me was, goodness, he's a good interview, isn't he?
He is a good interviewer. I was absolutely shocked at how good he speaks. I was just in awe of his poise.
All right, Dad, question for you. I know you did some scouting in baseball, I understand. What are your impressions of him? What are we going to see from him in the future as a pitcher?
Well, he's on the right track. I mean, obviously he had a hiccup there with the arm issue that required the Tommy John surgery, and it definitely set him back a little bit of time on his development. But I tell you what, I like the path he's taking right now. I love his arm speed. It's free and easy. I know there's a lot of other people that like what they see too, and right now he's doing a great job changing eye levels, mixing up speeds. He's getting pretty good hitters out right now. So you know, for the first couple innings, I like what I see. Hopefully the Reds do too.
All right, one last question. How many people you got here tonight?
We have the whole row. We have the whole row right here. We went ahead and got our own seats, made sure that we secured a nice block together, because we know it can be a little challenging here in LA. This is a big market organization. They have a lot of sellouts on Fridays, so it was going to be hard for us to get a bunch of seats together. So there's people just scattered all over the place.
Well, you did it, and congratulations to you guys. I know first impressions go a long way with me. He made a terrific impression on me last night, and you guys have raised a fine young man. Appreciate you guys' time. All right, let's go back up to the booth, boys.
Thank you, Jim Day. Nice work down there with Mom and Pop. And Mom's about to burst, isn't she?
Well, so exciting to have your son in the major leagues in the stadium in which you came in for so many times. And here he is on the mound pitching. I'm surprised that they can even put two words together on a night where they've got to be just so excited watching their son. And good luck to John Lamb and the rest of the Reds tonight on that. It sounds like his dad knows an awful lot about pitching. I mean, he started breaking down John's pitching about changing speeds and changing the eye level and nice fluid arm action. And I can see that he got some pretty good coaching right there at home.
And Mom was very proud of the way he presents himself via the interviews. She said it surprised her a little bit, but they've raised, as Jim said, a fine young man, and we look forward to getting to know him a little bit better, and hopefully he'll continue the good work that he's put up so far in the first 2 innings tonight. Reds, meanwhile, trying to give him a lead again with which to work. Good start to this third inning. Hard smash by Phillips. It went off the leg of Alex Wood. The trainer came out. Don Mattingly, the manager of the Dodgers, came out. Wood stayed in the game. And then Eugenio Suarez lined one into left field for his second hit. For the second hit of the inning, and the fifth straight time now that Suarez has been on base. 3 hits in each of his last 3 times up last night. A walk in the first tonight, a base hit here in the third. And they tie up Votto inside there, and he's a strikeout victim.
Votto trying to just get enough of that pitch to foul it off and stay alive. I mean, he is never a guy that really goes up there and going to pull an inside pitch. In fact, he's a very unusual left-hander that he'll try to stay alive by fouling that pitch off, much preferring getting a ball out over the plate. But Alex Wood was able to place 2 of them right there on the inside corner.
Second strikeout by Wood. Votto got the best of him the first time on that RBI double. Wood gets the best in the second go round, and now Frazier hits the double play ball. 6-4-3. There goes Rollins to Hernandez to Gonzalez, and it puts an end to the Reds' third inning. timeline. 5th round pick by Kansas City in 08 out of Laguna Hills, California. He was a Royals minor league pitcher of the year in 2010. Underwent Tommy John surgery in 11. And of course, traded to the Reds from Kansas City July 26th of this year, and making his big league debut here tonight. And when you talk about Tommy John surgery, in fact, both these pitchers have had it. Sometimes it's a slow recovery.
Well, he really went from being the top prospect for the Kansas City Royals to really falling off the map after he had problems coming back from that. But you have to give a little bit of patience, especially on younger pitchers that have that. I mean, maybe for anybody who has Tommy John surgery. I mean, some people just come along at different rates and recover. So he had to come back from Tommy John surgery, but also had to adjust to pitching in minor league baseball too, which is a big adjustment even if you're completely healthy. So I know that there are a lot of people that were wondering, well, which will be the first of these left-handers that the Reds got in exchange for Johnny Cueto to be called up to the major leagues. A lot thought that it would be Brandon Finnegan. He was a young man, a left-hander who pitched in the College World Series last year and then in the Major League World Series at the end of the season. But here it is, John Lamb, and that is a walk to the opposing pitcher.
Yeah, 5-pitch walk by Lamb to his opposite number, Alex Wood. The first walk he has given up here, and so he'll immediately go back to the stretch. Well, we talked about the Tommy John that he had, but as a senior in high school in Laguna Hills, California, he had that hairline fracture in his elbow, didn't pitch his entire senior year.
Well, he was in an automobile accident, and actually it was a very serious accident, and that kept him from pitching. So, you know, he dropped in the draft, obviously, because of that and so on. But, hey, you know, perseverance pays off. And you could just hear in the tone of his mother's voice about how proud she is that he had a dream that he would not give up on. And here he is in the big leagues. But right now, hey, that dream is not on his mind. What he's worried about is how he's going to start getting out the Dodgers here at the top of the order coming around after he walks the opposing pitcher.
Rollins started the Dodger first with a double against Lamb. Works against him here now for the second time.
Really good pitch right there, too. A changeup. So we've seen him throw all 4 of his pitches so far tonight. You know, when you're in a situation like this with John Lamb, so much adrenaline and so much emotions going through you, the hardest thing to do is to calm down.
They get the broken bat pop up here, and Phillips will make the play. Looked like he had an idea, kind of keeping an eye on the runner to drop that ball and try to get a double play.
Well, he obviously realized about halfway through that play that he would rather have the pitcher on first base than Jimmy Rollins on first base. If it was the other way around, if the pitcher was running right here, batter runner, then he may have let that ball drop and then tried to get the runners exchange. Either way, you're not going to get a double play unless the guy at home plate is completely dogging it.
So here's Kike Hernandez. Base it in the left field his first time. Hernandez will get a bulk of the playing time at second base with Howie Kendrick out. Kendrick, the second baseman, acquired by the Dodgers in the offseason after a long career with the Angels. Recently placed on the disabled list by LA. Came right after him at 0-2 and gets the strikeout. So after the leadoff walk to the pitcher, pop up by Rollins, strikeout of Hernandez.
This is that kind of cut fastball slash slider that he throws that you see some movement on it. Not a lot, but just enough to get Hernandez off of that, and 2 down in the inning.
4 strikeouts now in the game for Lamb as he deals with Justin Turner. Sacrifice fly to left for Turner, his first time.
Now, if you're watching on a brand new TV, don't try to adjust the color on your set, because that really is a red beard. I mean, I was up close and talking to Justin Turner today, and it's maybe more remarkable live than it is on TV. He has become a huge fan favorite, as I mentioned here, a young man that went to Cal State Fullerton. In fact, it was unusual the way that the Dodgers decided to sign him. Their bench coach, Tim Wallach, was at a Cal State Fullerton alumni game, and there was Justin Turner. He had just been non-tendered by the Mets. They didn't want to offer him a contract and let him go to arbitration, so he was essentially a free agent. And Tim Wallach thought back. He says, boy, every time we saw this guy play, he may not have gotten a hit, but he certainly gave a good professional at bat. He called Ned Colletti and said, why don't we invite this guy to big league spring training, which they did on a minor league deal last year. He makes the team out of spring training and goes on to hit .340. And this year he's over .323 with a line drive back up the middle, and nearly takes the hat right off of John Lamb.
Hit for Turner, the 4th of the game for the Dodgers, and so now here's Adrian Gonzalez with a big opportunity with 2 on, 2 out.
Gonzalez was John Lamb's first ever major league strikeout. That's the good news. The bad news is it's tough to strike this guy out twice in a row.
Hammers this one to left, but luckily Bird is right there, and Marlin makes the catch. And so John Lamb hangs another 0 here in the bottom of the 3rd. Second, the Reds will honor Hall of Famer Tony Perez. Make sure you arrive early, witness the unveiling of the legendary first baseman's bronze statue, and a special on-field pregame ceremony. Plus, the first 30,000 fans in attendance will receive a replica Tony Perez statue presented by La Rosa's. For tickets, 513-381-REDS, or you can visit reds.com/tickets. 1-1 game through 3 innings here at the ballpark. I don't know if those are sisters or just friends. One a Dodger fan, one a Reds fan.
A house divided.
You know, the one good thing about the Reds coming to Los Angeles, that there is no red at all in any part of the Dodgers uniform. In fact, real Dodgers fans, according to Tommy Lasorda, bleed blue. So if you're looking for Reds fans, you can, you know, scan the stands and they just jump right out at you.
Well, they had a big crowd here last night, expecting a big crowd tonight. A fireworks show after the game.
I know you're a big fan of that.
Speaking of Mr. Dodger himself.
Does it take fireworks to get Tommy out to the ballpark nowadays?
I don't think so. Broken bat off the bat of Bruce, and Wood will throw him out. So Jay is 0 for 2 in the game. Bruce now 4 for 31 during this road trip. Not been a good trip out west for the Reds right fielder.
You know, you got to wonder where you are if you're Alex Wood. You get traded over here from the Atlanta Braves to Los Angeles, and now not only do you play in a huge market and a team that's in contention. Obviously, they're in contention; they're in first place, but you're also pitching alongside Zach Greinke and Clayton Kershaw. So you're able to watch them, you know, and what they do. You know, watch their workouts, what their preparation is all about. You know, you go down and watch their bullpen sessions, and then you see them operate during a game. And I would imagine that for a guy like Alex Wood, it gives you an enormous advantage to have not only a great pitching coach like Rick Honeycutt, but also, you know, 2 of the top pitchers in the game to kind of learn from and lead by example. So I hope he's not wasting that opportunity, because it doesn't come around for everybody.
Well, you're fortunate beyond belief, as you mentioned, to have those 2, and I would hope, you would think that not only Wood, but all these other pitchers take advantage of it as well.
Not only that, they had Sandy Koufax out here, I think, last night during his bobblehead night. I imagine he's on call if you would ask in a nice way.
I know he spends a decent amount of time with the Dodgers at spring training. Koufax was introduced to Great American Ballpark during the evening of the All-Star game as the greatest living left-handed pitcher.
There would be few, I imagine, that would take exception to that.
Yes, indeed. Some would say that maybe the Diamondbacks' Randy Johnson was the best lefty.
We were just in Phoenix when they retired his number, and of course, I think that most of the people who were at Chase Field that night would probably agree with you, or at least agree to the fact that Randy Johnson, perhaps with all of his accolades, would be even better than Koufax.
Pena thought that ball was in on him. Paul Nart, the home plate umpire, disagreed, and now Brian is down 2 strikes.
That's a pitch that normally umpires do not miss, although our Fox track shows that ball to be inside a little bit. And the reason they don't miss it is that the umpires are right over the inside part of the plate, looking over that left shoulder of the catcher.
To the mound and to first. Wood put that glove up. Ball went right on in it. Hurd is doubled up at first. Inning is over. Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Meyer. Find more for a healthier you at Meyer. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on U.S. News and World Report's Best Children's Hospital. That's a real shot right there. That's not a game.
Oh, yes, it is.
That's not on the little computer that you're playing.
It's not a game when you're in the passenger seat, but when you're driving the rental car like I am, it is a game, and you make the wrong turn, you find yourself on the way to San Diego.
Now, you did a good job today navigating to the ballpark.
Yeah, 15 miles, 53 minutes.
We saw all the sights between the hotel and Dodger Stadium, and there are a lot of them. Bottom of the 4th inning now. Scott Van Slyke leads things off. Grounded out on a nice play down at third by Frazier his first time.
What you really like about Lamb is a nice fluid delivery. I mean, it doesn't look like he's putting a lot of effort into it. And a ball coming out of his hand at 91, but I mean, you're seeing a lot of swings and misses. We like that strikeout so much. His 3rd of his major league career, and I think it's the 5th of his major league career. And the 1st of this inning, the 4th, are Cholula. Flamethrower of the night. 91 miles an hour as he sets down Scott Van Slyke.
You bring up a good point. He has a nice, smooth, as I guess what they like to call repeatable delivery, right?
Yeah, he does. And when I first saw some video of him, I thought, boy, you know what? Who does he remind me of? And maybe it's a blonde hair, but Jerry Royce comes to mind. He's not quite as dramatic as far as collapsing on his back leg as Royce is, but I imagine there are more than one person who will see him pitch who's from down around the Laguna Hills area, which is where John Lamb lives and is from. They may remember Jerry Royce, the left-hander for the Dodgers. Back-to-back changeups there against Puig.
Doesn't appear really to be any wasted motion with him. Puig now, Grandal on deck. 1-1 game here in the 4th.
Nice. Back-to-back cambios. That last one being a cambioso.
Number 9, Yasmani Grandal.
Puig was way out in front of that. That's 6 of them now. 6 strikeouts for Lamb.
That's the best of the 3 that he threw right there.
Back to the dugout goes Puig, and the batter now is Grandal. Lamb looking for his first perfect inning of the evening.
You know what happens when you bring up a young pitcher like John Lamb and he has success, just like it's happened to Keita Sampson and Raisel Iglesias and so on down the line, is that all of a sudden it pushes those other guys a little bit more. I mean, if they're all getting knocked around and getting knocked out of the game early, there's not much, internal competition. But if everybody's pitching well, everybody wants to outpitch the guy that pitched the night before. That can make it for a lot of fun.
Well, he said at the top of the broadcast, this is the 16th consecutive start by the Reds with a rookie on the mound. 62nd this year. The last time a big league team had as many as 16 consecutive starts by rookies in a year was 1997, when the Cardinals had 19 of them. Votto going to make a play on this, and there's a perfect inning for John Lamb, and Grandal slams the bat down on the ground. We're through 4 here at Dodger Stadium. Through the 23rd at Great American Ballpark. Thanks to Reach Savings Magazine, you can catch the action and save with a 4 for $48 ticket offer. For only $48, you get 4 view-level tickets plus 4 exclusive Reds hats. For tickets, 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com/4 for $48. That's all part of that Tony Perez weekend as well. Celebrating the Hall of Famer and the statue that will be unveiled outside GABP. 5th inning now. John Lamb leads it off. This time John Lamb has batting gloves on. Jim Day, you have more on this?
Yeah, he was in the on-deck circle before that inning-ending double play that Brian Pena hit into, and Billy Hamilton threw him some batting gloves and said, "Here, dude, use these." And he put them on, winked, said, "Thank you very much." So I don't think that bat's going to slip out of his hand this time.
You know, like we were talking about earlier when he came up his first time up there, he had never had a professional at bat. Kansas City affiliate, and while in Louisville they played the American League teams, so never gone to the plate as a pro until here against Alex Wood, and he strikes out. This time looking, was 0 for 2 tonight. All right, it's time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Just use hashtag #OhioDataStrongFan. Might see yourself in the future part of an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Again, that hashtag #OhioDataStrongFan.
You know, it's against left-handed pitchers that Billy Hamilton likes to push that bunt to the right side. Not this time.
Turner going to throw him out. 2 quick outs here in the 5th.
Kind of interesting last time when Billy Hamilton hit that home run. It was, of course, who else would have the line of the night but Vin Scully. Came and said as he watched Billy Hamilton run around the bases, and he ran around the bases, Billy did, because he didn't think it was, he wasn't sure that it was going to be out of the park home run. So he decided, well, I'm going to make it an inside the park home run in case it doesn't leave the yard. And Vince saw him running around the bases like that and said, well, Billy Hamilton's running around the bases on a home run like that they might change their mind. And that's the way you ought to do it. But boy, what a treasure to have calling a game in which you perform, the great Vin Scully.
Tell you what, I think it's a pleasure just to walk by and see him working in there. I went in and said hi to him tonight, and yeah, it's great to see him. He was, he was announcer for the Brooklyn Dodgers. He came out here west with them back in '58. Still going strong. Then works by himself without a partner on television.
He started calling games when Truman was in the White House. The 12th presidential administration.
How about that?
I knew I'd get that reaction from you.
What is he in? Like his 60th some year broadcasting Dodger games. Puig makes a catch on that ball. Phillips is out. Reds go in order for the first time. in the National League since July the 29th. Reds right a part of that mix at 3.10. Cubs, Cardinals out of this division. So 3 teams out of the 5 in the National League Central Division. How about those Cubs at 13-1?
Yeah, the Cubs are very interesting, really, because if you look at the Reds roster and you have all these rookie starters and then you have a veteran, starting 8 in the field, and you have pretty much a veteran bullpen, especially anchored with the role as Chapman. The Cubs are almost the opposite. They've got a veteran starting staff and a very young starting 8 out there. So
that foul ball almost interrupted your story and almost got you a souvenir.
Well,
I mean, that's right below you.
All I needed was just another arm or so.
A little bit longer.
My old first baseman's glove, I used to have that in my backpack. I don't carry it around anymore.
You were talking about the Cubs. They won today 6-5 against the White Sox, so they've now won 8 games in a row. They're really pushing the Pirates, leapfrog them into second.
They're not catching ground with the Cardinals because the Cardinals won also. I think they beat the Florida Marlins 3-1, or the Miami Marlins 3-1.
They did indeed. Toronto's 11-game winning streak was snapped, though, tonight. They lose at home to the Yankees 4-3. The Yankees get 4 in the 8th to wipe out a 3-0 Toronto lead. Ivan Nova gets the win in that game. That leapfrogs the Yankees back into the top spot in the AL East by a half game over the Blue Jays. This one's going to be a little bit short there towards us. Pirates 1-10, 3-2 over the Mets in New York. So Pittsburgh stays 6 back of the Cardinals and 1.5 ahead of the Pirates. Peterson hanging in there against the left-hander Lamb.
He sure is. Now, we've been out on a long West Coast trip. You joined the ball club in San Diego. I know you did a lot of sightseeing down in San Diego. Have you been able to get out here in Los Angeles and look around at some of the famous sites that you can see when you come out to LA?
No, I have not done any of that.
I mean, there's so many historical things, especially surrounding, the movie area. You can go into all sorts of different museums and exhibits. You can go on movie sets, of course, up in Century City, and a lot of things to see. And the Walk of Stars is one place that I went years ago, and I've always wanted to go back. But I heard that today our own Jim Day was at the Walk of Stars on Hollywood Boulevard. 1.3 miles of stars on the pavement, and we've got a photo to prove that he was there. And there he is.
Look at him.
Day
How about
himself. I mean, posing as only he could pose at the star of Charlie Sheen.
His good buddy, Charlie Sheen.
Well,
Jim, you're looking good.
That was a gag, and I texted that to Sheen, and he was losing it. He said he was going to frame it.
All you needed was a cardboard sign.
I couldn't resist.
Cousin, or was that you?
No, that was me, and you should have seen the people looking at me while the picture was being taken. I said, I'm from Ohio.
Can we take another look at that? I mean, this is a classic.
I'm from Ohio. I don't know any better. I'm just a tourist, is what I was telling.
I bet your wife was proud of you right there.
She took the picture. She was laughing.
All right, Jim. Well, how did you like the Walk of Fame?
It was awesome, actually. It's one of those things that I've always wanted to do, like you said, and just to be there and see it, and the Chinese theater, etc. It was cool.
Now, there are 1.3 miles of stars. Did you go the entire walk up and down the sidewalk there?
We did, actually. Went up and back and then down another street where Frank Sinatra is at. It starts with, we started at the end where the Beatles and Elvis Presley are the only stars there. What a catch!
Pena makes the catch of this, and they will flip it on to first, and the end result of that is a double play. I mean, what a hustle play there by Brian Pena. Phillips took the throw at first.
Jimmy Rollins.
Certainly worth another look.
I'll tell you, you talk about being alert. Flips off his mask, reaches out and gets the play. Now, Frazier, tell me, throw to first base, take your time, because Peterson was all the way down to second base. That must have been a run and bunt, which is a really unusual play. What happens when you pop up, you're going to run into a double play. What a superlative effort by Brian Pena.
It's the fourth double play already of this game, 2 on both sides. Yeah, what quick reaction right there by Brian Pena. Erases that base runner and gives John Lamb a chance to face only 3 batters again in this inning. Jimmy Rollins has doubled and popped up. Now Lamb ahead of this wily veteran Jimmy Rollins. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 15 years with the Phillies, traded over here in the offseason. Second hit of the night for Rollins. He jumps on that delivery from John Lamb. And that is hit number 5 for the Phillies. Pardon me, for the Dodgers. Just a reminder, as you enjoy tonight's game, we look forward to bringing you a little bit later on our Miller Time moment of the night, brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's Kike Hernandez. Hit in the first and then was erased as part of a strikeout throw-out double play. Struck out his last time. Mentioned he's playing in place of Howie Kendrick, who went on the disabled list just before the Reds arrived here with a strained left hamstring. Well, you can see the perspiration on the shirt of John Lamb. Hot and very humid out here. Really kind of atypical of what it is normally like. May have tipped the glove of Lamb and on into center field by Hernandez. Back-to-back hits after 2 men are out.
Boy, how important is that double play now? I mean, if he had gotten the bunt down instead of popping it up into a double play, a run probably would have scored by now. So instead of being 2 out and 2 on, there's probably a run in and a couple of more on base, and John Lamb now has to deal with the 3 and 4 hitters in this lineup. First, Justin Turner.
Turner, a sac fly his first time, a base hit into center field in the 3rd. 2 on with 2 out. Closing in now at 80 pitches is Lamb.
You see that little leg kick that Justin Turner does? He got that actually from working out in the wintertime with Marlon Byrd. They hang out together quite a bit. They become very close friends. And that is one thing that he has taken from Bird's approach to kind of get his weight back a little bit, and has served him very well here in the last couple of years with the Dodgers.
Toward left center field. That ball's going to fall. Bird will cut it off. Racing to the plate and scoring is Jimmy Rollins. And the Dodgers, with 3 straight hits with 2 men out, nobody on, have taken a 2-1 lead.
Well, the first 2 hits were solidly struck. That last one a little bit on the end of the bat. John Lamb makes a nice pitch on a changeup after a first pitch fastball, but just staying back just long enough as Justin Turner to lop that ball into left center field.
Rollins has scored both of the Dodger runs in this game. Hernandez running on contact with 2 out, ends up at third. Now Adrian Gonzalez, who was struck out and lined hard into left field. 0 for 2 in this game, 1 for 5 in the series. Poses the menacing opposition right here.
You're right, and this is a good time for Brian Payne to go out there and talk to John Lamb. I mean, it's a little pep talk / calm down. Don't worry about it. You've gotten this guy out a couple of times. You've struck him out once, so stay with the program. I put the sign down, and you feel strong conviction about the pitch that you're going to throw.
Oh, he cracks this ball to right field, and that's a 3-run homer for Adrian Gonzalez. Been a 4-run inning, and it's 5-1 Dodgers here in the 5th. Gonzalez, number 23.
Trying to come after him with a fastball and just kind of left it right there. And Gonzalez is just a really good hitter.
RBIs now on the year for Adrian Gonzalez, marking the 11th straight year that he's had at least 70 RBIs in a season. Frazier will make the play on this ball, and Slyke retired, but not before the damage done. RBI single Turner, 3-run homer, Adrian Gonzalez. September the 5th against Alabama A&M. You can go behind the scenes and see all the improvements to UC's home field and what it took to get the job done. Revealed, Nippert Stadium will debut Saturday night. That's tomorrow night at 8 before Reds Live right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Speaking of football, congratulations to the Cincinnati Bengals. Opened the exhibition season tonight at home, Paul Brown Stadium, with a 23-10 win over the New York Giants. First of 4 they will play. 23-10, Bengals a winner. Alex Wood to the mound, works with a lead for the first time tonight, thanks to the 4-run bottom of the 5th put up by his mates Suarez, Votto, and Frazier here in the 6th. Big blast by that man, Adrian Gonzalez, longtime Padres star. Went to Boston for a short time, then came out here. He's a San Diego native. Sure appreciated getting back to the West Coast. Suarez trying to make it 6 consecutive plate appearances in which he will reach base. Now a pitch away from doing that at 3-2. He had a double in the 5th last night, a 3-run homer in the 6th, double in the 8th, walked tonight in the 1st, singled in the 3rd. Now walks here, so that is 6 straight times Suarez has come up. He's reached base and he's on to start the 6th.
Yeah, that's the whole idea, getting him up on the near the top of the order in that number 2 spot.
Make sure you follow the Reds wherever you are with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. That bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or your tablet. Votto swings through that one, strike 1. Joey a base hit, an RBI double his first time, struck out in the 3rd. Double in the 1st means he's hitting 4 in a row. While his average has dropped off somewhat since the All-Star break, he still leads the major leagues at the start of this game in on-base percentage since the break at .563 and walks with 32. And I say he's dropped off. He's still hitting .395 since the All-Star break. In the air to left, carrying to the wall and gone. Joey Votto powers that ball the other way. His 2nd home run of the road trip, his 21st of the year. And the Reds, who led early 1-0, trailed 5-1 going into this inning, now inch closer, trailing 5-3 on number 21 by Votto.
Now a leadoff walk comes back to haunt Alex Wood. Both of the home runs that Joey Votto has hit on this road trip have either been to center field like he did in San Diego or to left field. Boy, he gets his foot down but keeps his weight back and hammers that baseball.
To right by Frazier, but it'll be handled for the out. You know, you look back at the numbers we were talking about. Alex Wood, he gives up his 10th home run of the year, but that's the first home run this year he's given up to a lefty.
Right fielder, Jay Bruce.
Well, stepping in the batter's box right now is another left-hander that is known for taking left-handed pitchers deep.
His average doesn't reflect it, but the long ball against left-handers is very good for Jay Bruce. Bruce hit that home run the other night in San Diego. Monday night, it was the 200th home run of his career. Tonight he's 0 for 2. Bruce right now sitting at 985 hits, trying to become only the 6th player in Reds franchise history to amass 200 home runs and at least 1,000 hits. The others being Bench, Perez, Frank Robinson, Ted Kluszewski, and George Foster. Toward Kike Hernandez. Bruce is retired. In this series now 1 out of 8. And the batter will be Bird. Votto 3 RBIs tonight, now 57 on the year. The leader on this team was 71 is Frazier. Then Bruce was 64. Votto third at 57. Bird a base hit his last time. That came in the 4th. He's 1 for 2. Well, he hits this ball hard, but unfortunately that's the way they are playing him, right up the middle. Hernandez will throw him out, and the inning is over. But the Reds inch closer. Votto's home run is 21st. Makes it 5-3. America, Boys and Girls Clubs help young people to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. If you'd like more information, you can visit foxsportsupports.com. Back to work, John Lamb. He gets Yasiel Puig, who was 1 for 2 in this game. 85 pitches through the first 5 innings of this one for the left-hander Lamb.
Well, we've seen worse, and I'm really glad to see Lamb back out there. I would not want to see his night end on that inning that he had in the 5th, when it started out with a walk, and next thing you know, he's got 2 outs on the board when the pitcher popped up on a great play by Brian Pena, and then bang, 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 and he's down by a few runs on a 3-run homer by Gonzalez.
His spot, Lambs is due up second in the 7th, so this would figure to be it. Boy, it'd be great to see him go out with a strong 6th inning.
Well, he handled Puig last time up, and if you remember, he went and got Puig on a strikeout on back-to-back-to-back changeups. And a 3-1 count. He'd probably come with something off speed here.
Puig lifts it to right, but playable. And Bruce makes the play, so Puig is 1 for 3, and a good start to the bottom of the 6th for John Lamb.
Pitcher, Yasmani Grandal.
Here's Yasmani Grandal.
Yeah, we were talking about John Lamb's grandfather. John Ramsey, who is the PA announcer here for more than 20 years. But that's not all. He also served as a longtime PA announcer for just about every athletic venue in the Los Angeles area. The Lakers, the Kings, the Raiders, the Rams, USC football, many, many movies and voiceover.
Frazier gets it on over to first. Grandal retired. I think I read something where it said his grandfather was the voice of Los Angeles.
Center fielder, John Peterson.
Well, for a major league debut in your hometown against the first place Dodgers, not bad at all, especially the way it started for John Lamb. He collected a bunch of strikeouts. He's got 6 of those on the night. He showed a nice crisp fastball, good control of a changeup, an occasional really good breaking ball. And he probably doesn't still know where he is right now. I mean, you're in such a fog when you're making your major league debut, especially under the circumstances he has made his, that this has probably been all one big blur from the time that he got here yesterday until he'll wake up sometime tonight and say, wow, I'm a big leaguer.
Let's see, he would pitch again at home. His parents watching. He would pitch at home again, probably against the Diamondbacks in the big weekend series next weekend. That means he would make his Great American Ballpark debut after making his big league debut here tonight. Love to hear what his parents were saying. They're so appreciative of the Reds giving him this opportunity.
Well, let's hope we get to see the Lambs make a journey out to the Midwest and take a good look at Great American Ballpark to watch John pitch next week.
There they are.
Now, I know that you just moved into a nice new palatial estate over there in northern Kentucky. Probably have plenty of rooms. I mean, they're only going to bring about 40 to 50 people. I imagine that you could handle them no problem.
I could give them a floor. Folks that don't stay at my place can move on into Tom Brenneman's place. Yeah, I know he has room.
You better believe it. I mean, maybe everybody who at the game tonight can come.
It'd be a party.
Although I don't know if Terrace Park could handle this many Californians at one time.
Only one way to find out. Strike 3 called on the 99th pitch of the night for John Lamb. He gets Peterson looking, and if he is indeed done, and we think he is, he ends on a strikeout and a 1-2-3, bottom of the 6th. rookie to start a game for the Reds this year. First 4 innings, look at that. 1 earned run on 4 hits with 6 strikeouts. He had it going. But the 5th inning, a little bit of a problem. RBI single there by John Turner. Following hits by Justin Turner, I should say. Following hits by Rollins and Hernandez. And then the big blow, that one, the 23rd home run of the year by Adrian Gonzalez. Made it 5-1 Dodgers. Votto getting the Reds a little bit closer. 2-run homer the other way. Off of the delivery of Alex Wood. That's where we stand now as Wood goes back to the mound here in the 7th. Reds down by a pair at 5-3. Jason Bourgeois waits on deck for the Reds. He will bat for Lamb as Brian Pena leads things off. There's Lamb in the dugout getting the glad hand. Pena had already shaken his hand, and the manager, Brian Price, even though he gave up 5 runs, looked like he was pretty darn impressed with the job done by the rookie. Rollins makes the play. Pena out to start the inning.
It's kind of funny, the deliveries of these 2 pitchers, the starting pitchers John Lamb and Alex Wood, are really light years apart. Lamb is nice and smooth, much more conventional delivery, high 3/4 arm slot. On the other hand, Alex Wood is kind of a herky-jerky left-hander, but their stuff is very similar. And Lamb may have a little bit more on the fastball, but they both rely a lot when you're facing right-handers on changing speeds. And Wood has had a lot of ground balls tonight.
Final line on Lamb, 6 innings, 5 runs all earned, 8 hits. He walked 2, struck out 7. Bourgeois announced as a pinch hitter. Don Mattingly to the mound, and so the Dodgers here in the 7th inning will make a pitching change. Jim Johnson, who pitched in the game last night, has been throwing in the bullpen. This is our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Look-ins from around the league. MLB Whip Around is weeknights at 7 Eastern on Fox Sports 1, and of course streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
We don't know how this is going to end up, but this seemed like a very quick hook for Don Mattingly by plucking his starter Alex Wood out of the ballgame. Certainly wasn't a pitch count issue. 82 pitches. He's going to turn over to a bullpen and has had it's more than its share of problems. Asking them to cover 2 2/3.
Bourgeois announced as the pinch hitter. Johnson into the game. Johnson was in there last night, gave up 2 hits in 1 inning. Got a big double play off the bat of Marlon Byrd and was not scored on. Bourgeois now at 2 balls and a strike. Bourgeois on this road trip at San Diego, a pinch hit home run that came on Tuesday against Frank Garces, the first pinch hit home run of his career, the first by a Reds player this year. Trying to get something started here in the 7th. Alex Wood 6 1/3, 3 runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts as the Dodgers starter. Can win, cannot lose. For Lamb, can lose and cannot win. Johnson, a big guy, makes the play on that tapper back to the mound.
Yeah, he's
6'6".
He needed just about every inch of that frame.
Center fielder, Billy Hamilton.
Two out now for Billy Hamilton. Pitcher spot is due up first for the Dodgers in the bottom of the 7th. Billy, of course, that 4-hit game last night. Johnson trying to put back-to-back scoreless appearances together for the first time as a Dodger. He had been scored on in each of his first 4 appearances with LA until he put a 0 up last night in his 1 inning worth of work. And if you count his last appearance with the Braves at Baltimore on the 27th of July, this guy out of the bullpen had been scored on in 5 straight appearances, none of which were more than 1 inning in length. Hamilton out on strikes. Number 4 for Dodger pitching tonight. And the Reds go in order here in the 7th. mobile. Eric, right out there at Great American Ballpark. Tonight's Data Strong fan photo of the game. Make sure you tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag Ohio Data Strong Fan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast. Brooke Badenhop, Chris, is into the game.
Well, they're getting everybody all riled up here during the 7th inning stretch. Bottom of the lineup, Badenhop will pitch to, starting off with a pinch hitter for the pitcher, Jim Johnson. I don't think Johnson was double switched into that.
No, he was
game.
not.
So the pinch hitter, Carl Crawford, will come up, and it's been good lately for Badenhop.
The Hopper appeared in the game here last night, allowed 2 hits in his 1 inning worth of work.
I mean, you don't have to know him well to call him the Hopper.
Right.
He's got it right there stitched onto his glove, right?
We'll have to see if we can find that for sure, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you're correct. We told the story that the Miami Marlins announcers were in the clubhouse when they were in town, and we asked them who they were looking for. They said, we're looking for the Hopper. Where's the Hopper? So we start calling him the Hopper. Guy got off to a very, very shaky start this year, but really has turned things around. Pinch hit base hit now into right by Crawford. Gets the Dodger 7th inning going.
I got to ask you a question. If we go back after the ball game last night, John Reynolds, our stage manager, took us out to a famous old Mexican restaurant right on Sunset Boulevard, only about a mile from Dodger Stadium, the El Compadre. And we sat around and we talked a little bit and told some stories, and everybody ordered something, and even I had a taste of tacos de lengua.
Right.
And we could not talk you into that.
No, you couldn't.
If we go back again tonight, will you finally have some beef tongue tacos?
I will not. I just can't get over you're eating tongue.
I'm just so disappointed. I mean, I would think that the natural food for an announcer would be lengua.
Yeah.
Jim Day would probably do it.
He might. It's very possible that he might. Jim's down there shaking his head. He would not. That's a definitive no.
There's no chance of that.
I'm telling you, never had anything like it.
You and I are in the same camp on that, Jim Day.
It was like chocolate tofu.
I think someone once said,
I'm going to give my portion and Jim's portion to you and JR. I want you to enjoy it.
And the Dodgers trying to put play on right there, and it's a good combination of players to do that. Maybe the best that they have. Good contact hitter in Rollins, speedy runner in Crawford. You didn't have any problem polishing away those flaming margaritas, though.
That was an adventure, that's for sure. Gotta be careful with those things.
You set the tablecloth on fire. Well, I don't know if they have lengua at a new restaurant I'm going to head to when I get back to Cincinnati. Forno Osteria. The Piasotto family's opening one up there in Hyde Park. I can't wait. Hope they have some tongue. Out.
Ball is out at second base. Carl Crawford stole a base in the game here last night. Gun down there. Dodgers want to take a look. Don Mattingly comes out, signals to Paul Nart. Hang on just a second.
Well, you can see Brian Pena already up. Not in the crouch, but he is almost up like it's a pitch out, and it was an off-speed pitch, and he delivered it right on the money.
Dodgers want him to take a look at it.
Yeah, I thought they would. We saw a couple of quick slow motion replays, and it looked a lot closer
at slow-mo than it did in live action.
Crew chief is Dana DeMute. The umpire who made the call is Mike Estabrook. Call is out. So you have to have definitive video that shows that you can overturn that. Dodgers challenge this at second base.
Well, every time they show it on the scoreboard here at Dodger Stadium, the fans here, and there are a lot of them, all feel like the Dodgers got the short end of the call and that might be reversed. Boy, Reds catchers have done a nice job, though, haven't they, in throwing the ball on the money? We have seen both Brian Pena and Tucker Barnhart really do a nice job.
Trying to decide if I think this should stand or should be overruled. I'd say it's going to stand.
I'll tell you what, why don't we put a little wager on it?
Not in the lingua now.
If you're right, I'll eat the tacos de lingua. If it's overturned, then you have a taco de lingua.
Then you'll eat the taco de lingua. Either way, you're going to eat it, and I'm not.
You got to live dangerously, Jim.
You know, I just can't do that. Again, I just can't get over what it is. But I want you to enjoy it. To your heart's content.
We probably should have told you that they were something else.
You know, that might have worked.
Well, the closer the play, the longer it normally takes. And there's the head of all the umpires right here in Joe Torre at the ballpark tonight. So he's got an interest in this whole outcome, not necessarily whether the runner is safe or out, but by how efficient the process is.
This one hasn't been very efficient in terms of length.
Well, you know, as I said, the closer the play, the longer it takes to adjudicate. Looks like we're nearing a decision.
They do not overturn it. My gut feeling was correct.
I'm eating the tacos de lengua.
But you're glad you lost that bet.
It was win-win.
Goes down as a 2-6 caught stealing. Second caught stealing tonight of a Dodger. Joe Torre looks on, baseball executive, chief baseball officer since 2011, after a long and distinguished playing career and managerial career that actually ended here in L.A. Making his rounds, talking with all the managers of the various clubs. Met with Brian Price today.
Well, you talk about just the air and the energy being sucked right out of this stadium. That review that did not go the Dodgers' way, and then the next pitch strikeout of Jimmy Rollins, and all of a sudden there's 2 out, nobody on him. Hardly a peep out of this big crowd.
Pedro Baez, right-hander, is throwing in the Dodger bullpen. Johnson went 2/3 of an inning. Don Mattingly will run out a second reliever in the 8th. Badenhop trying to put an end to the bottom of the 7th. There's Baez. He, like Johnson, threw in the game last night. Kike Hernandez with a good series thus far. 3 hits last night and a pair of them again tonight. And sir, you see all the Reds action aboard the Cincinnati Bell Riverboat deck at GABP, located above the center field wall. You will take in panoramic views of the Ohio River and the entire ballpark from this 2-story semi-private outdoor party area. Book your party or group. Simply call the Reds Group Sales Department. You can reach them at 513-765-7600 or visit reds.com/groups. I said 2 hits, actually 3 hits tonight for Kike Hernandez, so 6 hits in this series thus far. Another one going for his 3rd hit of the night, Justin Turner.
They're happy to have him back off the disabled list.
That leg kick you're talking about, he brings that thing up.
It's really interesting to see all the different approaches that hitters have, much like pitchers. There are a lot of different, I mean, Badenhop is a different style of pitcher than most relievers that come in here. But there aren't all that many hitters around that have that leg kick lift like Turner does. Brandon Phillips nowadays has really moved to a non-stride swing. Joey Votto has a little bit of a leg kick from time to time. Whatever keeps you on time is the important thing as a hitter. There's a leg kick from the side view. The idea is to get up, keep your weight back, and then get your foot down in time. That time just a hair late is Turner.
Phillips cheating up the middle. He's going to get the out at first base. Looked like he thought Suarez is going to be on the bag. Turner hit that ball hard, but he's out 4-3, putting an end to the bottom of the 7th. reveal later on some more of Pick's LA friends that we've run into out here tonight. Wanted to make sure they said hello to Jeff Pecora. We'll pass that along during the postgame.
Better believe it. Of course, Pick texts me, you're in the middle of the lingua conversation. He's all in. He likes that exotic food.
New pitcher on for the Dodgers is Pedro Baez. Baez last night, 2/3 of an inning. Gave up the home run ball to Eugenio Suarez in the 6th. They get Suarez right after Phillips, who's leading things off.
Maybe it's just the starter's dreads for Pedro Baez, but he looks a little bit like a young Johnny Cueto.
You think so?
Cueto did the turn, and he's got the 5 years from now, those dreads will be about the same length as Cueto's. Maybe about 4 years. It took Cueto 5 years of no haircuts to get those where they are right now.
A soft liner by Phillips there to the second baseman Hernandez for the first out. Wonder how long it's taken Justin Turner to get that look going that he has. 5 years? I think it's been shorter than that. Well, that started like Jan 1. Or maybe the start of spring training.
That's pretty good work for just this summer. Must be eating a lot of vitamins.
Suarez's streak comes to an end. He had reached base 6 straight times, and it ends here on the fly ball into center. So 2 out. The batter will be Joey Votto.
Joey Votto.
Joey had 2-run homers last time, made it a 5-3 game. Reds just need one base runner here to bring the tying run to the plate. So this would be a good situation for it right here. Votto get on, Frazier come up there. Third game of this series tomorrow night. Come your way an hour earlier. The game starts at 9:10 Eastern time. Van Slyke on the job on this fly ball, and the Reds go in order. That's 9 in a row now by Dodger pitching.
it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Beautiful Dodger Stadium. As we go to the bottom of the 8th inning of this one, we'll remind you to get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before the start of every game. That's with Reds Live here on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live pregame presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Tomorrow it'll come your way at 8:30 Eastern Time. And the pitching matchup tomorrow will be David Holmberg, who has not disappointed when he's gone out there in 3 starts, against Brett Anderson. 6-game winner so far this year. Free agent signee by the Dodgers in the offseason. The oft-injured Brett Anderson, but pitching pretty well for them this year. That's the pitching matchup tomorrow night. On our Celebrity Watch.
And what would a Reds game in Los Angeles be without Nick Lachey?
How about it?
Well, they're probably watching us on the big screens at his bar and restaurant, his family's restaurant there on, I think, on Vine Street, if I'm not mistaken.
You know, he looks remarkably similar to Andy Roddick, the tennis player, doesn't he? Do you see the resemblance?
Yeah. I wonder if Andy Roddick can sing.
I don't know.
Or if Nick can play tennis.
You're always thinking.
Jumbo Diaz is the new pitcher the Reds are bringing on. 38th time for Jumbo. It's kind of been a tale of 2 seasons. Before he was sent down to minor leagues, and then after he was brought back up. Jumbo was telling me earlier tonight when he first stepped into this stadium, 2004, it was not a very good experience. He came here as a Dodger minor leaguer because he came to Los Angeles to have Tommy John surgery.
Oh boy.
And he showed me the zipper scar on his elbow to prove it. But he had a reunion tonight with a minor league coach of his, George Culver, who was a former Cincinnati Reds pitcher. In fact, he threw a no-hitter for the Reds in 1968, did Culver. Won 16 games over a couple of years of work with the Reds. Well, he was Jumbo's minor league pitching coach in the Gulf Coast League. And on his team, there were 2 Jose Diaz's. And he was always calling for Jose Diaz, Culver was, and the wrong one would show up. So finally, he got both together and said, "You are Jose Diaz," and he pointed to the smaller one. And then he pointed to Jumbo and said, "From now on, you're Jumbo."
How about that?
And he had no idea that Jumbo would so thoroughly embrace that name that would be his name from now on. In fact, if you look him up in Baseball Reference, it doesn't come up as Jose Diaz. It comes up as Jumbo. Of course, that was about 50 pounds ago.
Or more.
Culver telling us that.
Andre Ethier pinch hitting here for Scott Van Slyke. Gets himself a 2-base hit. Dodgers trying to add to their 5-3 lead. 14th double of the year. This one a pinch hit shot by Andre Ethier. Good story right there.
Well, the capper on that story is that when George Culver had Jumbo, you know, he says he had a great arm, but he really couldn't do much. He couldn't cover first. He couldn't run. He was just so big, and he pleaded with him. He says, "Please, you know, take care of yourself, lose some weight, and you can go a long way." And Jumbo had nothing but great things to say about George Culver. Had a chance to meet with him before the ball game, and I remember George. And in fact, we saw George last year in San Diego when he brought a team of 13-year-olds down into a big tournament, baseball tournament, and I think Jim Day did a little interview with him, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, that's the story of Jose Jumbo Diaz.
It's a good one right there. Very good one. Bounces away from Pena. That's going to put Ethier over at third base. A wild pitch by Jumbo. Now, we've been joking around a lot tonight about various things, but we do want to get serious for a moment and wish manager John Farrell of the Boston Red Sox all the luck in the world. He had to step down today following the announcement that he has been diagnosed with stage 1 lymphoma. He'll begin chemotherapy next week. Torey Lovullo, his bench coach, will take over for the remainder of the year as the manager of the Red Sox, and we wish nothing but the best for John Farrell, manager of the Red Sox.
We certainly do. Good man. Now, this is really a night that accentuates the trying to find a cure for cancer here at Dodger Stadium.
Jumbo's gone full now on Puig.
Well, the at-bat completely changed now with that runner at third base. The infield in. Puig just trying to get a ball into the outfield to plate another run for the Dodgers and give them a 3-run lead. He went.
They ring him up. Back to the dugout he goes. Yasiel Puig. Nice job there by Jumbo Diaz.
You know, sometimes you can feed on the aggressiveness of a hitter, and I don't know if there's a hitter in baseball right now that is more aggressive than Yasiel Puig. He chased a changeup in the 4th inning against John Lamb to get himself struck out, and he struck out there on a pitch that was definitely out of the strike zone.
So a ground out, a double, a wild pitch, and a strikeout, and Diaz now needs to get Yasmani Grandal to give the Reds a shot in the 9th, down by 2.
Jumbo bringing it.
Kenley Jansen throwing in the Dodger bullpen.
Well, it looked like Grandal winced a little bit. He went down on that back knee. I think that was the knee, the left knee, that he had major knee reconstructive surgery a year or so ago, as a member of the Padres. Young man has come a long way. This year the splits look better as a right-handed hitter, but if you talk to any Dodger that has watched him play a significant amount of time, they'll tell you he's a superior lefty hitter. Aggressive, he went there too, right?
Yes, he did, according to Ed Hickox, the third base umpire. By the way, seeing Nick Lachey here is not who we had in mind when we're talking about the friends of Jeff Pecoro from earlier.
Oh.
There's others. Certainly he and Pick are good buddies.
Nick's about as avid a Reds fan as you will find. Good man.
That's ball 4. So Grandal joins Ether on the bases here in the bottom of the 8th.
Center fielder number 31, John Peterson.
Hey, how about Paula Abdul?
I knew you'd recognize her.
Looking good at the ballpark tonight.
Now we had a shot of Nick Lachey, and next to him is sitting Chad Lowe, actor and director. Yeah, that's the danger of pitching at Dodger Stadium. I mean, you're trying to concentrate on the glove, and you look up and you make eye contact with a movie star. You forget where you are.
Chad Lowe didn't get a chance to eat before he came to the ballpark tonight. He's putting a hurting on that dinner down there. That one looked like it may have slipped out of the hand of Jumbo. Jock Peterson has struck out twice in this game. He came into the game second in the National League with 135 strikeouts, trailing only fellow rookie Chris Bryant of the Cubs in that department.
Power versus power right here. Jumbo rearing back and firing it in there at all his might. And Jock Peterson trying to size up a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
Let's see, Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
With all the actors and actresses and celebrities here, I mean, we have the biggest one, the biggest Reds fan in our booth tonight. In the long time days of our lives actor, Drake Hogestyn, known as John Black for more than 20 years. Former teammate of mine.
John Black on the show.
Well, John Black on the show. Drake Hogestyn in La La Land. And I know him as Donnie Hogestyn, third baseman for the USF Brahmins.
He's kind of a bad boy on that show, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's been killed a couple of times, taken away by aliens, returned.
Thank goodness he's okay.
Back from the dead, yeah. He looks fine to me. He looks better now, actually, than most of his teammates. Pretty good matchup right here on a 3-2 count. And he worked the wall.
Diaz walks back-to-back Dodgers here in the bottom of the 8th. Now they're loaded with 2 out. Make your reservation today for the Front Gate Outdoor Luxury Suite at Good American Ballpark. Suite features an all-inclusive food and beverage package, flat panel TVs, and luxury furnishings. Host your next group outing by calling the group sales department at 513-765-7600 or visit reds.com/groups. Alberto Callaspo is announced as the pinch hitter for Pedro Baez. Jeff Pico to the mound to discuss. Dodgers trying to add to a 2-run lead. They're trying to keep it at 2 as they come up in the top of the 9th inning. 1-2-3 inning for Baez. They'll be turning it over unless they have a huge inning here to Kenley Jansen, the closer of the Dodgers, who's been throwing and is ready in the bullpen.
Let's go, Dodgers!
Callaspo, who started in the game last night at third base, went 0 for 2. Is the pinch hitter here. Switch hitter hitting .237 with a homer and 15 batted in. Better hitter from this side of the plate at .273 on the year. That is close, but a foul ball.
That gets your heart going if you're standing in that Reds dugout. I would say that Callaspo was geared for the fastball, and it really didn't matter how hard Jumbo Diaz throws it. He was ready for it, and he was hacking, figuring that he had to throw a strike, bases loaded, nowhere to put him. Hit it hard and didn't miss by much.
Not at all.
A little more defensive swing there by Callaspo, and Jumbo way out ahead. Doesn't mean you automatically waste this pitch, but you throw it so far out of the strike zone that it becomes a wasted pitch. But you certainly don't want to groove one here and give him something to hit when he's just trying to make contact. Expand the zone, make him chase a little bit.
Hard into right, but Jay has it measured, and the inning is over. Dodgers leave them loaded. They've stranded 7. 9th inning baseball upcoming.
We saw John Lamb make his major league debut tonight. Another lefty in that Cueto deal went tonight. Brandon Finnegan for Louisville, and his best outing as a Louisville bat. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs. Adam Duvall, who came over in that Mike Leake trade, 4th home run in the last 11 games tonight. And don't look now, but top prospect Jesse Winker heating up. 4th straight game with a home run, and he's got some opposite field power, all 4 to left field, as he is a left-handed hitter. And Amir Garrett continues to deal at Daytona. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs. He struck out 5. So down on the farm, good news.
Thank you, Jim. You know, I really believe we're going to see Finnegan up here and Adam Duvall before this season comes to an end. Would you agree with that?
I certainly hope so. I don't know whether we do or not. I mean, we are not privy to any of the inside conversations regarding prospects and player moves. Never been consulted upon for any of those, and wouldn't expect to be. But I certainly hope so. I mean, it's exciting watching these young guys play.
Andre Ethier, who pinch hit, stays in the game. He's now in left field, and the Dodger closer on the mound is Kenley Jansen.
Jansen is one of those pitchers that throws a natural cutter. If you see his fastball, I mean, and like the pitch that he just last threw to Todd Frazier, it runs like a slider. Every pitch he throws runs away from a right-hander and into a left-hander. Of course, that was the pitch for the best closer of all time, Mariano Rivera.
The only pitch he threw, basically, right?
He occasionally would throw a 2-seamer, but 90% of the time it was that cutter, and you thought you were on it, and halfway to the plate it would move a couple of inches, and you'd either swing and miss or swing and miss the sweet spot.
Dodgers found this big guy, 6'5", 265-pounder in Curacao. Signed him back in 2004, made his big league debut in 2010. 22 saves and 23 save chances this year, with a 2.67 ERA. And he takes care of Frazier to start the 9th inning. Jansen with 128 career saves. He saves it tonight. He'll tie Jeff Shaw, a former Red, for second all-time. Eric Gagne with 161.
Well, Jeff Shaw had a nice run here.
Mm-hmm. In fact, Shaw being traded to the Dodgers opened the door for one Jeff Brantley to take over as a closer in Cincinnati.
Certainly did. In fact, he was traded to the Dodgers July the 4th, 1998. Shaw was for Paul Konerko and Dennis Reyes. And that
the big sweat.
Yeah, and I think that was probably just moments after Jim Bowden told him that he would never trade him.
Yeah, you know, you're right. We laugh about it, but that's true. You're exactly right.
A lot of what I say is true.
And a lot of what you say isn't.
Some of it, anyway.
Reds need a base runner to have a chance. Down by a pair, 5-3, ninth inning. Out hit the Dodgers last night 15-11, but are being out hit tonight 11-5. Bruce 0 for 3 in this game, 1 for 8 in the series. Not been a good road trip for him. Kike Hernandez will throw him out here. So the Reds are down to their last crack, and Marlon Byrd. Bruce 0 for 4 tonight, now 4 for 33.
Marlon Byrd.
4 for 33 on the trip. (9-10) game here. We mentioned tomorrow night. 4:10 to wrap things up on Sunday. Anthony DeSclafani against Zach Greinke. Reds enjoy an off day on Monday and then have a nice long homestand at Great American Ballpark that has the Kansas City Royals in town, the Arizona Diamondbacks, a one-gamer with the Detroit Tigers on the 24th at makeup date, and then these Dodgers in for 3. That thing went right through the advertising sign back there. Bird 1 for 3 tonight. Right through the tire.
Shredded. $43,407 here tonight. Big fireworks show to take place after the game. And Bird strikes out. And the series, 2 games in, is even at 1-1 as the Dodgers bounce back tonight with a 5-3 win over the Reds. Alex Wood gets the victory. The save goes to Kenley Jansen, his 23rd. He's now tied for second all-time in Dodger history for saves. John Lamb making his big league debut suffers the loss. Dodgers are a 5-3 winner. We have more to come. We'll have that when we come back.